Mayor Wallace.
George.
This is the Torch of Life. I hand to you. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Right? It's all you.
Thank you.
Inspiring, to say the least.
So what's the main purpose of your...
We're trying to bring comprehensive care to sickle cell disease,
Okay.
and that could be done if Bill C-605 that was tabled by MP Kirsty Duncan about a month and a half ago in Parliament Hill, if that gets passed, we will have comprehensive care. So in other words, sickle cell disease has been recognized as a legitimate disease in Canada.
Okay.
And it's afflicted tens of thousands of people. And they can't even wear a bracelet because there isn't no bracelet.
What is the bill, just in a nutshell, what is it going to...
Well, it's got a three-step procedure. The first thing it would ask is to evaluate the situation nationally to see where the needs are. And then once the needs are evaluated, then to start implementing the care where it's needed.
Okay.
So, and then the third step is to work with each province as a delivery system, you know, and then that'll just bring it up to par with all the other regular diseases.
Okay.
We look at this disease as the runt of the litter. It's having a hard time getting the nipple, if I may use that as an analogy. You know, all the other diseases have their nipple, and I mean, you know, of course, there could still be a lot more work done and all, but they don't even have a nipple. Like, so it's the runt, and it's got to fight to get that nipple.
Okay. So I'm assuming that you suffer from the disease yourself? No, you don't? So why are you doing this?
Good question, because I've been asked that all along.
Yeah.
I see no color in this. It's a black disease.
Okay.
I see people suffering with it just like they're suffering with diabetic, you know. So I see no color. I don't see whatever the majority of the people are suffering with. I don't see that as a barrier or any kind of thing to do with why it shouldn't get any care.
Okay.
So the theme I've been using is I see no color. You know, I'm white. Nobody in my family suffers with it.
So you don't have any friends or anything, or
not really.
No. Okay.
I just heard. I know about it, and I know all the suffering that's going on. You know, so you know, as a Canadian, I want to do my part. You know, really, that's what it comes down to.
How are you, Bob? I'm good. Oh, okay. Good. I think you have breakfast. Yes.
This is the Torch of Life for you.
Oh, that's right, guys. Oh, look, they're giving the restaurant a free ad. Come on, we're not doing that. There we go.
I got, if you have something, a cramming pin for you.
Oh, thank you.
Good. And also, I've got, we had, in Colborne, we had a 150th anniversary
Yes.
last year, and that's Colborne can.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So you guys are going through the same thing as Quinte West. You're making sure everybody's saying cramming?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cramming Township. So the first thing is, you know, we're doing this campaign, of course, to bring comprehensive care for sickle cell disease and recognize it as a legitimate disease. And we're doing this by meeting all the municipalities, the mayors and the councillors and deputy mayors and everybody, so that they can help us to encourage the MP and the MPP to support Bill C-605. Making this bill law, this disease becomes legitimate, and therefore people that are suffering will be recognized by hospitals. And presently it doesn't exist. So for one example, if somebody's suffering with diabetes, they have a bracelet that if something should happen to them, if they're visiting somewhere, and then they're at the hospital, and they can see by the bracelet, and the hospital can treat them because they have facilities in that hospital to treat the diabetic. So that is sort of the same thing to apply. Here's the story about Coburn and the torch. In 2000, June 26, we started a 12,000 mile campaign across Canada, right, to carry that torch. And we got it donated to us anonymously. We still don't know up to this day who.
Okay.
And so we kind of started in Toronto, but went around the other way first before we started coming this way.
Yeah.
So I think it was the second month into our journey that we were coming through, just before we were coming through Coburn. We made a stop, and what we usually did after we put up the torch, we put it in the hub of the wheel. And this time the driver forgot that it was in the hub of the wheel and broke this whole bottom half off. And so we had like the missing half, the torch being carried.
Yeah.
And so that day we were making our way to Coburn, and we had, I think it was your high school. How many high schools do you have here?
We have,
Like Brighton has a there's a school in Brighton.
Right, and then do you have one here?
No, Coburg.
Coburn?
Yeah, three of them.
Three.
High school.
Okay, so was one of those high schools where kids came up to meet me on the highway, and there was a teacher there, and that I was explaining what happened to the torches they were carrying,
Yeah.
and they said, well, I'm an industrial arts teacher, maybe I can take a look at it.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as he said those words, on Highway 2, right by the side of the road, there happened to be this little piece here.
Oh, really?
And he just seen it, the minute he said those words, he just seen it, and he picked it up, and it fit perfect. Like, that was 11 years ago. I have not taken it off since. Like, and it almost looks like it was just part of the whole torch.
Yeah.
And it was just, it was a magical moment that I wish, because we were filming everything, but we missed that. And the only way I can tell the story is tell the story. I can't, but I forget which school, but I can look back at my documents and everything to find out which school came out that day, and see who that teacher was.
Yeah.
Because one day I like to let them know that we have still been carrying the torch, because since then, it's been carried literally by millions of people, and it was blessed by Pope John Paul II.
Right.
And it was actually the Pope that said, pass it to the kids.
Okay.
And the kids have been carrying it, millions of them. So, that's my Coburn story.
Yeah.
So one day maybe we can find that teacher.
Yeah.
Sickle cell, is that what we're calling it? Yeah.
Sickle cell anemia.
Is it like diabetes in the sense that you can treat it and live with it, or is it something like more like a cancer that where you get it and it's terminal?
Well, it could be treated if it doesn't get terminal. So, I mean, there's cases where people could be suffering with it and it doesn't get to the advanced stage.
So it's if you get it in its early diagnosis.
Somewhat, but see, they still have a lot of questions to the medical community still trying to answer on why all of a sudden gets terminal. And that's just like any virus too, like the hepatitis C virus, for example. People can live with hepatitis C all their life and it won't bother them all their life, but all of a sudden it decides to wake up and hit the body like a vengeance. In a way it's almost the same, but the way that you treat it is mainly because the pain sometimes gets so bad that you have to treat it with painkillers. It's the only way that you can manage the disease, so that's one of the ways that,
Well, that's just basically disguising symptoms, isn't it?
Yeah, it does, but I mean...
But I mean, it's needed, but I mean, in the sense of it's not really curing anything, it's
No,
just
it's
basically
not.
making it bearable.
No, it's not. The cure actually is a bone marrow transplant. That's where it kind of fits into our, and this has been recent that they've been having a lot of success with bone marrow transplants. And if you want to take note, leukemia is very similar in that they're both blood disorders. So, but with leukemia, they've had way more research and way more study to treat it more properly, and it's recognized as a disease. Where this still has to go through all that, But they did find that as leukemia or bone marrow will save their life, or stem cell, they're discovering that that also saves the person of suffering with sickle cell as
And
well.
that was my question, next question, stem cell, have they done any stem cell work with it or not?
I have not known well, it's the actual, when you do the bone marrow, it's the actual stem cells. that
In the
are
bone marrow,
cure.
they-
In the bone marrow.
Okay.
That's the cure. So when they say bone marrow, it's because you're transferring the stem cells from the bone marrow. That is actually the reason why the person is getting cured. So the other thing, sir, that we wanted to add was, we have a mayor that you might know, Mayor Dennis Staples from Smith Falls.
Dennis Staples, okay.
From Smith
I
Falls.
don't know him, but okay.
He's going to, at the Roma conference in Toronto, he's going to bring the sickle cell program with us.
Okay.
And also at the London conference in August, he's going to sit down with Governor Matthews
Okay.
and try to convince her to produce the ritual bill.
Okay.
So as we speak, he's trying to recruit all municipal mayors and council throughout Ontario. And what we're hoping is we're making stops in each community that you can maybe give a nudge to the MP here
Okay.
to hopefully support C605.
Okay. I know him well.
And also the NCT.
Okay. And I know him well too. That's fine.
Good.
Okay.
But please, over and above that, the 6605 is federal, and it may take some time for that bill to be passed. But in the meantime, the Ontario government can do something for us, and that's why, we can help us talk to the NPP also, that we want them not only to wait for that bill to be passed, but to try to do some of the provision in that bill can be done immediately.
I understand the only comprehensive care is at General Hospital.
And that's not good enough.